Hello, my name is Raven Wolf Navarre. I am a high priestess of the Druid religion, and I am also a medicine woman and a ufologist, a cryptozoologist, and I'm also a conspiracy theorist. Today's date is the 25th of March, 2016, and I'm sitting here with my best friends, Dawn Shran. We live in Candy Kitchen, New Mexico, and we basically sit on a mountain that is all forest. If you want to pan to your right, you can see the forest around us. We have very few people. We have 70 people that we care very deeply about on this mountain. And we share our lives with all the campers that come and all the people that come to see our reservation, basically. We sit between the Navajo and the Zuni reservation. And I am a pagan and a Native American. I was born Powell Reservation, Cherokee, North Carolina. And I believe in the naturalist religion, where we honor Mother Earth and we honor the Father God. So ask any question you might like of me, Don, and I will be more than happy to answer it for you.
How did you get started in this?
I was born like this. Born and created. There's two different sides to my story. And I have particular gifts that I feel that my Mother Goddess has given me to be able to help people in this world. And I've used it in many different careers, of which I am now retired. And I actually have an e-magazine that I have created, and my cohort and partner in crime, Eve Davis, we've made an e-magazine to honor our mentor and a very good dear friend of ours, who is Kate Kazar, who wrote 5 books on the Superstition Mountains. And
well, some people, they say, well, why paganism? Why did you continue to follow it?
Well,
what's so special about it?
It's not that it's special, and I tell people this all the time who've called me a goddess. They've called me special. They've also called me freak, because I'm telekinetic. I have the ability to be telepathic. I am a natural born fire starter, and which is pyromancy, by the way. And it's inbred in not only myself, but my children and my children's children. So this is something that has run through our bloodline. Being Native American, I didn't realize until I was 18 that I needed to study my own heritage. But because of my gifts and things that me and my twin sister, who has now passed away, God bless her, could do, it scared my father, who was a chief petty officer for the U.S. Navy. And when he found out what we were doing, he put us in for testing with the U.S. Navy, and we were actually, they wanted to recruit us into the remote viewing program. And so this is something I've lived with. I can see the dead. They talk to me, I talk to them. They protect me. I have my own family spirits that protect me at all times. I've been through three fathers and 2 mothers, all of which are now passed away. Thank you. So I was born like this, and I've had to learn to deal with it. At times in my life, I felt it was a curse. But now that I am now 62 years old, I believe that these gifts were given to me for a specific purpose, and I think the purpose is coming true very fast. We are at a point in time where we are headed for Armageddon, if you want to call it, apocalypse, if you want to call it, and it's going to come from several different areas. And I also believe that nobody is put in your life without a reason. You're either there to learn a lesson or to teach someone. So I have been graced with many friends who I have met over the years, who have been in my life for sometimes a day, sometimes a week, sometimes a month, sometimes years. And when we part, we always have something that we've learned from one another. And that's important. The human race is coming to a point where the powers that be are going to literally decimate about 75% of the human population. And me and Eve and some friends of ours who we're very close to all know this, and we are preparing for it, because the U.S. government will not help us, and they're not going to tell us what's going on. Full disclosure on UFOs has happened across the entire planet except for the United States. And the reason being is because we have used reverse technology to make our military weapons. But yes, I was born like this, and I had my own covenstead, Ravenwold Covenstead in Camp Verde, Arizona, for 9 years, until I turned into a crone, which is an older woman, and I gave it up. But I still teach. I still have sacred circles. I still practice my pagan rituals, Esbats and Sabbats 8 times a year.
Okay, aren't pagans also considered witches and warlocks?
Yes. Especially by the Judeo-Christian Bible, we are considered witches and warlocks. We're considered, in Druidism, which is what I practice, males are called druids or bards, and females are called dryads.
Okay. You also mentioned that you're also into the UFO studies. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know and what species you feel that are existing here on Mother Earth today?
Okay, and for that I'm going to go back to my Native American roots, because I've studied my heritage for many years, and I've studied many different traditions. And in those traditions, I have found that almost all, and this goes to most all religions on the planet, we were either seeded here by people from the stars, going right back to the book of Genesis and the Nephilim in the Judeo-Christian Bible. You can take the story of the Zunis, where the star people brought them here, but during the time of the Great Flood, they were actually brought underground by praying mantis-like aliens, and they were brought underground so they could save their heritage and their bloodline. And when it was over, when the flood actually started to subside, they were brought out of the earth by the ant people. And what's really funny is that if you look into the ancient Sumerians, where I believe the Judeo-Christian Bible actually started, the book of Genesis started, what you see is their gods were Enlil and Enki, which were star gods. They came down to earth, and they were mining gold for their own purposes, and they didn't want to do it themselves, so they literally genetically created Homo sapiens from Neanderthals, and created a slave race so that we could mine for them. I've studied the Judeo-Christian Bible versus the Sumerian gods, and they came from a planet called Nibiru, and it rotates around a dwarf red star. And it actually is a little funny because the Judeo-Christian Bible believes that God did all this, and when you talk about gods in every religion across the planet, including the Native American, the Buddhists, the Hindus, all of their gods came from the sky. So you have this already genetically created Homo sapien, which is what we are, and that's why we can't find the missing link between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. We have Homo erectus, and Homo erectus was actually between Neanderthals and Homo erectus, which have already been archaeologically have been written that these two were mating in different areas of the planet. Once they genetically created us, our brains actually increased in size by almost 35%, and that is written in many scientific papers. However, and the fun thing that I thought was that I found very interesting, and I just learned this within the last year, is Enlil and Enki and the ancient Sumerians were from a race called the Anunnaki. And when I went to the Zuni reservation and I heard the story of the ant people, I found it very interesting that in their beliefs, the word Ana means friend. Or no, it means ant. Sorry, I stand corrected. It means ant. And then you have Naki, which means friend. So you put those two words together, and what do you have? The Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki have been genetically creating Homo sapiens, on almost every continent since time immemorial. So all of us have these gifts. Some of us were just born to use them. And I have a degree in nursing, I have a degree in crime scene investigation and forensic anthropology, I have a degree in microbiology, and I'm working on a doctorate in Aboriginal anthropology.
Wow.
So I've learned to, in the times and the years I've lived, I've learned to use my gifts for the benefit of people. And yes, I'm a witch, and yes, that's something else I want to go into, and because it needs to be said. There is no such thing as black or white witchcraft. A witch that cannot hex cannot heal. You have to be taught everything. And I went through almost 9 years of study in my coven stead that taught me, and I can't name it, I can just tell you it's called the Sisters of Avalon. And I'm not going to tell you where it's at because we're vowed not to. I'm not even really supposed to be talking about this, but I feel we've come to a time in our planet's life that this information needs to be shared. So, I'm losing my point here.
Witchcraft being black and white.
Oh yeah. So you're taught both sides, and you have to be taught both sides. But it's the person themselves as to who wants to practice either towards the dark side or towards the light side. I choose the light. I chose the light because it comforts me, and I really feel that my human compadres need my help, and so I will give them this help.
Isn't the difference between the white light and the dark light is just if you use your gifts for good or if you use your gifts for evil?
For evil, correct.
For personal gain.
We're taught to believe in a mother goddess. And the reason we believe in a mother goddess rather than, and we honor the father God, so don't want to get letters about, me saying that God, there is no God. I'm sorry, I believe in both. But like we're taught in our studies, the goddess holds everything in balance. Without a father God and a mother goddess, there is no creation, okay? You have to have a male and female in order, even right to this very day, you have to have a male and female to procreate and to populate the planet and to share these gifts through bloodline. So, we're considered witches, but I am actually a druid high priestess, which doesn't make me actually a witch. I'm just not I'm a witch, but I'm not Wiccan. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
We hold the traditions that the Druids had started hundreds of years ago and probably thousands of years ago, starting at the continent of Atlantis.
Right, and they say that you never wish harm on anyone or do harm to anyone, that it will come back to you threefold.
Right.
Is that true?
That's not only true, it's two of our highest laws, and the first one being harm none lest ye be harmed. And the other one is called the triple-fold law. Anything that you throw into this universe by word, act, or deed, thought, will come back to you triple-fold, whether it is going to be coming in blessings because you have worked the white light, or you will be cursed by the universe for 3 years if you start throwing curses at people. It's just that simple. And most witches and warlocks who know this don't practice like that. And one of the other things that we are not allowed to do is we are not allowed to use our gifts for monetary gain. And you see this in people like the magicians David Blaine and Chris Angel. These men are warlocks. And yes, they use their powers and their money for material gain. And unfortunately, there's going to come a time when these men are going to have to pay the price for that, and I wouldn't want to be around to see what happens when the smoke clears. What
would you say is one of your powerful gifts? What's your most powerful gift that you feel that you use more often than others? What have you found that? Which one do you think benefits you the most? That you're the most,
confident in.
Confident in, correct.
These things change, and that's one thing I do have to say. I have been a practicing pagan since I was 13 years old. I am fully trained as a high priestess, And over your lifetime, you do different things with your gifts. Now, my telepathy between me and my twin sister gave me the ability to be able to read my patients when I was nursing, and my specialties were cardiac and geriatric nursing. I also took care of AIDS patients. So during the time that I was nursing, my telepathy was one of my strongest confident things, that I could read my patients and know what they needed. I had a 28-year-old white male who was gay, and he was end-stage AIDS. He had survived all the opportunistic infections and viruses, and all the cancers that went with it. We lost a lot of people in the gay community during the 80s. But this young man was only 28 years old, and I got to be with him 12 hours a day for the last 4 months of his life. When I first got to him, the HIV had crossed the blood-brain barrier. And excuse me, I find this a little hard to talk about because it touched me very deeply. Because he would slap, he would bite, he would spit, he would scratch. And this one day, his mother would sit with him all night, and I would come in at 7 o'clock in the morning and be with him from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And this one morning I came in, and his mother was standing outside of his room, and I said, are they doing something or taking tests, whatever? She goes, no, I wanted to talk to you. And I said, okay. I said, what's going on? And she goes, he's lucid today. And I went, lucid? He's actually got his bearings? And she goes, yes. She goes, so please, talk to him, interact with him more today than you ever have, because I don't know how long this is going to last. Unfortunately, it only lasted like 24 hours. But during that time, that young man looked me in the face more than once and said, God's punishing me. And I said, no, he's not. And he goes, yeah, he's punishing me because I'm gay. And I said, no, this is a virus. It is the first retrovirus ever found in humans. It came from animals, and God is not punishing you for anything. So please don't think like that. And we talked for that whole 12 hours I was with him. And as it was, during the night after I'd left, he had gone back to being completely psychotic. Okay. But it taught me that people get these presumptions about other people, and the way they talk to them really impacts what happens to them when they're in their death state. But during that time, it was my telepathy, telekinesis. I've worked it forever. I'm fire starter. Me and my twin sister together could create energy balls. We lit a house on fire when we were 10. It almost cost the lives of six people. And that's one of the reasons why my father put us into the U.S. Navy infirmary to be tested. But during these times, everything changes. Different gifts are used for different times. And right now, I pull on the energy of Mother Earth, and I send healing energy to lots of people. And most of all, right now, I am being visited quite often by the dead. They want their stories told, and they know that I can see them, I can hear them, so I do that. And so right now I'm very happy practicing my religion and being in this beautiful, beautiful area with all these special people, and I'm very blessed. And I don't know what else to say, so I got the next question.
Do you think that the combination of your beliefs, your pagan beliefs, and a combination of your medical field background is what prompt you able to have connections with some of those that have crossed over? Do you think there's any connection with that?
Yes. Me and my twin sister, when she was alive, I could feel spirits and I could hear them, but I could never see them. It wasn't until after my twin sister passed away that I was able to not only feel them and hear them, I could now see them. And under Einstein's twin paradox, me and my twin sister, after she passed, I'm starting to get all of her, not only my own identity, but I'm slowly but surely absorbing hers. And so it just makes me more powerful. And because I have such a diversified background, I find that it makes me very comfortable in what I am right now. Everything I've gone through in the 62 years that I've been on this planet has been a learning experience, and for that, for all the people that I've ever known, every life that I've ever touched, I feel completely blessed that I was given these gifts. Now, when I was a teenager, I really thought I was cursed, but now that I'm older, I understand that this is what I was built to do.
Well, you were explaining earlier some of the things that you've experienced just since you've been living in this house. This house was vacant for quite a while, and then you moved here, and then you said you started having some experiences. Can you explain just a few experiences that you've had here, not needing to mention names or anything like that, but just, explain a little bit about some of the spiritual experiences you've had while you've been living here. You've only been here for a short time, right?
A year. I've been here in May, it'll be 1 year. And 3 months of this year I actually spent in Langelsheim, Germany. But I've been through lots of stuff in my life, and a year ago I became homeless. My dear friend Eve lived with me for 8 months, and she was generous enough to invite me to come here and spend the rest of my days with her here. She is my best friend, and I love her dearly. And no, we're not partners.
I have a few gifts.
Yes, she has plenty of gifts of her own, and this is the one thing, we actually met through Kay Kazar, our mentor, and she was doing things that I kept identifying for her because she really was a skeptic. She had no idea of what she was doing. She just did it because, fortunately for her, she is of the Welsh and Scottish.
Welsh, Scottish, Irish, and English.
Okay, so she's actually of the bloodline that actually the Druids had started in Celtic Gaul hundreds of, almost thousands of years ago now. And because of her bloodline, hers comes to her just as naturally as mine comes to me. But hers is literally through her bloodline. With me, there's a big question as to my bloodline because of the way my birth happened. But since then, because we're such good friends, I'm teaching her how to use her gifts, and she's got plenty. She has got plenty. And so it's been a crazy trip for the two of us. We've actually had some really good times, and we've had some really weird times too. But she invited me here last year to come and stay with her, and this house was at this cabin that we live in next to the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary, is actually her sons Stephen and John's vacation cabin, and they are archaeologists. And I'm not sure what John's title would be now. Do you?
Yeah, I just know he got his degree in nursing and became a physician's assistant.
Okay.
He works for Stevens Company.
Yeah, and that's EPG.
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 Yeah.
It's an environmental company. But because of their busy jobs, they couldn't get here. And they bought this cabin in 1998.
98 or 99, yeah.
98 or 99. And they were using it as a vacation cabin. They used to come up here twice a year. And one time, and Eve was here with them. It was a family cabin. And what happened was they couldn't get here for a year and a half. And there was a tree that came through the roof while they were gone. The mice took over the entire cabin, and they ate through furniture and wiring and everything. And a real estate agent called Stephen. They found out who the property belonged to. Called Stephen and told him that a very lucrative author that will remain nameless for right now was interested in buying the 7 acres from him so that he could donate it to the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary, because he had just purchased the 40 acres and donated it to the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary.
I'm not sure.
It's not written in stone, but that's the lore that we've actually heard since we've been here. Well, last April, Eve her sons Stephen and John told her that, she's free to come live here, so that the cabin was taken care of. And a month later, when I became homeless, she invited me. And I got here, and the fun part about it was I got here on May 9th, and on May 10th, I woke up, and I went downstairs, came downstairs from the loft to make coffee, and I looked outside. Now, at the time, I was living in Apache Junction, Arizona. I had not seen snow in about 15 years. And I wake up, and I come downstairs, and I look out the kitchen window, and what do I see? It's snowing. It's May. And it's snowing.
I videotaped her.
I actually have a videotape of me that's kind of raw, really, because I couldn't believe I was seeing snow, and I kind of used the F word quite a bit because all I screamed was, "It's fucking snowing, Eve!" I never saw the woman move so fast in my entire life. She jumped out of that bed, ran down those stairs, and she's like, "Snow!" She's all excited. I'm like, "It's cold. The bell on the porch is white." And the funny part about being Native American, and this is a fun joke. I listen to the meteorologists. I did in Arizona. I do here in New Mexico, and I really want to build them what we call an Indian weather station, and it consists of a rock or a piece of board, and there's a small branch that comes off of it, and there's a little string with a rock on it, and it'll tell you the weather. It's very funny. If the rock is warm, it's sunny. If the rock is wet, it's raining. If the rock is swinging back and forth, it's windy. And if it's white, it's snowing. And that's about how we are here. I also took it upon myself to start videotaping everything that went on here.
Oh, me too.
And I referred to myself as the New Mexican videographer. And because New Mexico is called the land of enchantment, we also call it the land of enchantment and bewilderment because this cabin sits on a vortex. And a lot of our stuff runs backwards. We lose lights fast. Our toilet actually spins counterclockwise when it's flushed. Same thing with
Some of the light bulbs.
Our light bulbs actually have to be turned.
Forget righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Don't apply here.
It doesn't apply.
Doesn't apply. Craziest thing I ever saw.
And we've talked to some of the people who've lived here for a long time, and they consider this place sacred. The Indians themselves, the Navajo and the Zuni, consider this area sacred, and we do live between both reservations. And people come up here to not only see our beautiful wolves and wolf hybrids and dingoes and the New Guinea singing dogs and our beautiful little fox that likes to dig. And we're blessed because we get to hear these animals every evening and every morning. And there is nothing more beautiful than watching this beautiful area that we live in and hearing these wild animals all the time. We have a pack of coyotes here. They live in the south end of our property. And they have no fear of us because they know we won't hurt them. And so they've run right close to the house, and we have a Chihuahua that thinks she can take down an alpha male coyote, but okay, she thinks she's a Rottweiler. But where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Yep, we're gonna wrap this up soon. But the first thing I want to talk about is some of my spiritual experiences on this property. We have 7 acres here, and we share a 7-acre fence line with the Wild Spirits Wolf Sanctuary. And because I am a sensitive, and I'm a psychic medium, there are times when I walk my property, and especially because we're, like I said, we share a fence line with the campground for the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary. And because I do walk this ground and barefoot most of the time, I have felt in certain places this immense power. And it's coming from vortexes that are all around this mountain. It is a place for healing. It is a place for peace. It is a place that you can come to and experience the wild, beautiful animals at the Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary next door to us. You can experience living in a place that has 70 people, and we interact with each other all the time because we are all we have up here. And like I said, I do have an e-magazine. It's called the Eyes Magazine. And I will be doing lots of articles on this mountain and about the people on this mountain and about our businesses here, because we have to take care of our own, and I intend on doing this. It is my goal, and it's probably the last purpose I will have in this life. And I love it here. This is my home.
And there's other pagans that live here.
Oh yeah, there's many pagans that live here. We have quite a cross.
Doesn't the land of enchantment actually come from the Native Americans?
Yes, it does.
Because this
But
is
we also,
hunting grounds.
This is hunting grounds for the Native American tribes of the Hopi, the Zuni, and the Navajo. We also have to our southwest, is it, where the Continental Divide is?
Mhm.
Yes. To our southwest, we actually have areas that are volcanoes, and we have ice caves up here that you can come and see. And you can see all this when you travel down Highway 53 going into Grants, New Mexico. You actually can see entire fields of volcanic rock that are still untouched by man. We have inscription rock at El Morro. We also have the El Malpai. That's where the ice
It's
caves
also known
is.
as Badlands,
It's all
New Mexico.
we actually live in what was considered back in the 1800s the Badlands of New Mexico. This is where everybody ran to when you talk about Wyatt Earp or Jesse James. We had it all here.
Billy the Kid.
Billy the
Yeah.
Kid, yep. Doc Holliday,
Yeah.
my favorite of all the outlaws. Doc Holliday, thank you, Doc. Love you, man. Hope you're having gunslinging still. So yeah, I can't uptalk this area any more than I possibly could. This is my home. This is where I'll stay, and
This is where I'll die.
Yeah, this is where
And
this is
the
where
only
they
place I have ever lived in my entire life, my 65 years, that I felt safe.
Yeah, and that's another thing. This place, when you get here and you feel the peace and the serenity of this place, you don't have any fear. There's no fear of anything, not alien abduction, not wild animals coming to attack you. Just all I can say is take your shoes off, put your feet on the land, and breathe, and you will feel the energy coming from this area, and it will go through you starting from your feet, and it'll work all its way all the way up to your head. And I can't think of a better place I would want to be. And thank you, Mother, for the good friends that I have, and my friend Dawn here, who I just met just a about 8 months ago, right? And we were all sitting at the trading post, and we had so much fun, and we're having so much fun still. I'm so blessed to have Dawn in my life, just like I'm so blessed to have my friend Eve in my life. And Dawn, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for inviting me over to do this interview. It's been a real lesson learner, and I'm learning new things all the time about Candy Kitchen. And thank you, Raven and Eve,
And I'll have
for this
more
awesome.
information as soon as I do that dig. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
we'll have lots more information.
Thank you so much
Oh, you're
for this
so welcome.
interview. It's
A toast
very
to you,
informative.
sweetie. A
Very
toast to you.
informative. I will share this with others, and if
Please
they have questions, can they write to your Facebook
Yes.
page? And could you share? Can I share that
Oh, please
with
do.
others?
Tag me in anything you want to. My name is Ravenwolf Navarre. You can email me at www.ravenwolfnavarre@gmail.com. That is my personal website that I can receive questions, and I will answer everyone that I can.
And another coincidence that happened, Raven moved up here in May, and just 2 months later, my son informed me that they renamed the ranch to Raven Wolf. Not knowing what her
my name is.
what her name was. They knew her as Helena Shrek. They didn't know her as Raven Wolf. So the ranch is, my son's officially named the ranch after her.
Yeah, without
Quite a
knowing.
coincidence. I mean, no, there are no coincidences.
There are no coincidences in his life.
Yeah.
But Stephen did not know
Just-
that
yeah.
was my name. It is my priestess name. It is my Native American name, and it is the name I write under. If you want to see our magazine and share your experiences, I encourage it. Our website is built for people to share their experiences without any fear of ridicule. There is no negative responses to anything on our website, and our website is www.theeyesmagazine.com.
Thank you, Raven.
Oh, you're welcome, Don.
Thank you, Eve.
You're welcome.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cool.
Cheers, sweetie. Cheers.